Welcome back to our channel. Our lesson for today is about mathematical system. Kung bago ka lang sa channel ko, do not forget to subscribe. A mathematical system is a system or structure that consists of undefined or defined terms, postulates, axioms, and theorems. In geometry, this system is based on the concept of axiomatic method. So here is the illustration of the axiomatic method. The undefined terms, ito po yung ating foundation, kaya siya yung pinakailalim. Ang example ng undefined terms ay point, line, and plane. Sa geometry, wala talaga siyang definite na meaning or definition, pero meron lang siyang description kung ano ang itsura niya, ano ang meron sa kanya. Once na ginamit natin yung mga undefined terms na yon to defined terms, makakakuha tayo ng mga definitions. And then using these definitions, we can come up with axioms and postulates. Ito naman yung mga statements na ginagamit na natin to prove theorems. Undefined terms. Point, line, and plane are undefined terms in geometry. These are the terms that do not require a formal definition because they are so simple that if every new term is used to define them, the process will never end. For example, a point is defined as a dot, and a dot is defined also as a point. So, paulit-ulit lang na nagagamit yung word na point kasi nga considered siya as undefined terms or used to define other terms. To understand the undefined terms, we must describe their characteristics and properly represent them by real-life objects. So let us take a look at this. A point has no size, no length, no width, and no thickness. In geometry, it only indicates location or position. It is named using a capital letter such as the one you notice in a rectangular coordinate plane as shown below. So ito po yung tinatawag nating rectangular coordinate plane or yung Cartesian plane. So whenever we plot points here, makakakuha tayo ng mga location dyan kung nasaan yung point. And then, papangalanan natin yung point as a capital letter. So, for example, this dot and this letter. So, we can say that this is point X. Ang example ng point in real life ay yung tip ng ballpen natin. A line has no thickness and has infinite length. It goes infinitely in both directions. It is represented by a straight edge having arrowheads or on both ends, which means it goes on and on. So, pwede siyang stretch kasi nga may arrowhead siya on both sides. It is named by two capital letters with a small line symbol above. It can also be named by a single lowercase letter. So, kung magagamit ka ng dalawang points, papangalanan mo siya as line XH or line HX. Whereas kapag naman gusto mo ng small letter lang, pwede naman papangalanan mo lang siyang line T. Ang example po ng line sa real life ay yung relays po ng tren. So, it goes on and on. Okay? A plane is a flat surface extending indefinitely in all directions, and it has no thickness but with two dimensions, the length and width. A plane is commonly represented as a four-sided figure that can be named used by a single letter or by 3 points not all in the same line. So as you can see, meron tayo ditong points A, H, and X. So pwede natin gamitin yung points na to name the plane. Or, pwede naman natin gamitan ng single letter. Let's say, may letter P ka dito. Pwede mo siyang pangalanan na as plane P. Okay. So, ang plane naman, unlike line, ang line, pwede mo lang siyang i-extend on opposite directions. Ang plane, in two pairs of opposite directions. Pwedeng pa left, pa right, up, and down. Okay. Ang example po nito, ay ang plane natin ay yung sky tuwing gabi. So, yung sky natin, meron namang stars dyan. So, any 3 points, at least 3 points. Okay? Na hindi nasa iisang line lang. Pag sinabi natin wala sa iisang line, tawag doon ay non-collinear points. So, later on, i-discuss natin yan. So let's proceed with defined terms. Definition of terms is a precise statement or description of the meaning of a term using undefined terms. A definition has two main parts, the term to be defined and the explanation of the term. Example, a segment is a part of a line with two endpoints. So, pag sinabi nating segment, siya yung term na dinefine. Tapos, yung color blue dito, yung is a part of a line with two endpoints, yun naman yung explanation doon sa term na dinefine. So, this is how we define terms. So, proceed tayo naman sa different types of points. So, i-discuss natin tong mga to kasi ito yung mga makakatulong sa atin whenever we prove theorems later on. Okay, when we say collinear points, ito yung points na nasa iisang line. Pag non-collinear, ito naman yung points na wala sa iisang line. So, from the word line itself, okay? So, line yung pinag-uusapan natin with respect to points. Ang itsura po ng collinear points ay ito. You have here one line, tapos lahat ng points nandun sa line. Ang tawag sa kanila ay collinear points. Pag meron ka ng point na wala sa line, ang tawag na sa kanila ay non-collinear points. Kasi si PQ lamang ang nasa line, tapos si R na wala na dun sa line. So, itong set of points na PQR ay masasabi nating non-collinear points. Next, coplanar points. Set of points that lie on the same plane. From the word plane, okay? Coplanar, okay? Pag sinabi natin coplanar, ito yung mga points na nasa iisang plane lang. Ang itsura po niyan ay ganito. So, ang plane natin, itong parallelogram. So, lahat ng points na nandun sa parallelogram ay matatawag nating coplanar points. Kasi, isa na siyang set. Nandun na siya sa set na yon. Pag non-coplanar, meron kang point outside that plane. Okay? So, non-coplanar points na sila kasi hindi sila sama-sama sa iisang plane. Okay, parts of a line. So, kanina ang line natin yung pwedeng i-extend on opposite direction. So, ito naman yung mga different parts of a line. Let's start with ray. A part of a line consisting of a given point, called the endpoint, and the set of all points going on only one direction from the endpoint. Ang itsura po niyan ay ganito. Ito yung endpoint natin, tapos mag-extend siya on one direction. Pwedeng nandito yung point, tapos pag-extend pa ganyan. Okay lang yun, basta may isang endpoint, tapos meron kang isang may arrowhead. So, in this example, we have here 2 points, R and N. So, yun yung pangalan ng ating ray. Ray RN. So, lalagyan mo lang siya ng symbol ng ray dun sa ibabaw. Hindi ibig sabihin na porket going to the right to, ay going to the right din po itong nasa ibabaw. Lagi pong to the right ang symbol natin kapag pangalan na ng ray yung tinatawag. Kahit po ang itsura ng given ray mo ay going to your left, going to the right pa rin ang symbol natin dito sa ibabaw. Line segment, a part of a line consisting of 2 points called endpoints and the set of all points between the 2 endpoints. So, ang itsura po ng ating line segment ay ganito naman. Meron kang 2 endpoints, so wala tayong arrowheads na makikita. Tapos, ang pangalan niya kung ano yung dalawang endpoints na yun. So, since ito ay segment, wala tayong arrowhead sa ibabaw. Opposite rays are 2 rays that share the same endpoint but extends towards opposite directions. Okay, so para lang tayo may isang line. Ang line kasi consists of 2 rays. Okay, so ito yung first ray or ray 1 from B to A. Ang ray 2 natin is si B to C. So, when you combine these two, kaya siya tinawag na opposite rays kasi makaka-generate ka ng isang line. Diretsong-diretso. Angle is the union of two non-collinear rays that share the same endpoint called the vertex. The two rays are referred to as the size of the angle, and the opening between the two rays determines the angle measure. So, there are 4 types of angles. Acute angle, kapag ang measure niya, so ito yung dalawang rays na tinatawag, ito yung vertex na tinatawag naman. Yung space na makukuha natin dito, yun po yung measure ng angle. So, acute angle kapag ang measure niya ay less than 90 degrees. 0 to 90 degrees. Yun ang measure. 0, more than 0, but less than 90. Pag exactly 90 degrees, ang tawag niya sa kanya ay right angle. Pag lumagpas na sa 90, pero mas mababa sa 180, ang tawag na doon ay obtuse angle. Kapag sumobra naman sa 180 degrees, meron na tayong tinatawag na reflex angle. So, wala po tayong tatawaging straight angle. Kasi ang itsura po ng straight angle ay line na po. So, line na ang tawag sa kanya, hindi na po angle. So, proceed na tayo sa postulates. So, we're done with definition of terms. Postulates are geometric statements that are assumed to be true without proof. Example, segment addition postulate. If B is between A and C, so yung point B nasa gitna ni na A and C, then, yung part na AB, pag dinagdag mo kay BC, ang katumbas nun yung buong AC. So, tingnan natin yung example. Okay? So, si B ay nasa pagitan ni na A and C. So, si B nasa pagitan ni na A and C. Okay. Pag sinabi nating segment addition postulate, if you take the measure of AB and you take the measure of BC, if you add the two measures, ang sum po nun ay yung measure ng buong segment. Now, axioms. When we say axioms are universally recognized truths. They are also called as properties. Here are the different properties na pwede natin magamit in proving theorems. Distributive property, reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. So, magbigay tayo ng example kung paano ginagamit yung mga properties na to. So, here, pag sinabi natin distributive property, yung isang term na nasa labas ng solvable na nasa parenthesis, ibig sabihin, i-distribute natin yung term na nasa labas, dun sa dalawa. So, A, pag dinistribute natin, that will be A multiplied to B plus A multiplied to C. So, ayun yung ibig sabihin niya. Pag magkatabing ganyan na may parenthesis, ibig sabihin, i-multiply po. So, for example, 3 multiplied by 2, ayun siya. Then, kung ano yung symbol na nasa gitna ng parenthesis, yun yung magiging separator. And then, 3 multiplied to 1. So, 3 times 1. Kapag reflexive naman, anything is equal to itself. So, 29 is equal to 29. Symmetric, if you are given two things, pag binagbaliktad mo, sila pa rin yung equal. So, halimbawa, if the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2, then the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 1. So, parang binaliktad mo lang. Pag transitive naman, you need 3 measures or 3 things. If angle 1, measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2, and the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 3, then si 1 tsaka si 3 ay equal. Yung una at huli. Okay, now, let's proceed with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, properties of equality. Pag addition property, for example, ito yung A, ito yung B, tapos ito naman si C, ito si D. Pag pinag-add natin, ang ibig sabihin niyan, si A ay equal kay B. Tapos si 1 ay equal kay 1.0. Ang ibig sabihin po niyan, 3 plus 1 is equal to 3.0 plus 1. Pag subtraction property of equality naman, ganun pa rin po yung ating examples. 3 is equal to 3.0, tapos si 1 ay equal to 1.0. So, pag subtraction property naman, anything that you subtract on both sides, ganun din dapat ang measure. So, 3 minus by 1, kasi ito si A, ito si C. Tapos ito naman si B, ito naman si D. So, kung ano naman yung magiging difference nila, yun yung magiging sagot. For multiplication property of equality, A is equal to B, then 3 is equal, let's say 3 is equal to 3.0. So, yung C, anything that you multiply on both sides na equal nung una pa lang, equal pa rin ang kalalabasan. So, C1 tsaka C1, ito yung C na minultiply natin on both sides. Yung magiging result niyan, ganun pa rin. Pag division property of equality naman, Ganun din, pero we will divide on both sides. We will divide the same number or term on both sides. Substitution property of equality naman, if A is equal to B, then A may be replaced by B. So, for example, if A is equal to 20, then 3A is equal to 3 times 20. So, yung A doon, pwede kong palitan ng 20. So, yung 3A, pwede na siyang maging 3 times 20. Theorems. A theorem is a statement that needs to be proved or proven by deductive reasoning. The given condition is the hypothesis, and the part of the statement required to be proven is the conclusion. A theorem could be written in conditional sentence or declarative sentence. So, for example, vertical angles theorem. If two angles are vertical, then they are congruent. So, let us try to prove this theorem. So, when I say vertical angle po, yun po yung magkatapat na angle. So, let's say, itong angle na to, this is x. Tapos yung katapat niya dito, yun yung ka-vertical niya. So, itong si y, ang ka-vertical niya, itong si y din. So, ang sabi dun sa theorem, if two angles are vertical, kung si x daw at si x ay vertical angles, then parehas na sila ng measure. So, yun yung puprove natin. So, for example, you are given angles 1 and 2 are vertical angles. So, ito si 1 and 2. Prove that angle 1 and 2 are congruent. So, whenever we prove theorems, mas maganda magsimula tayo sa kung ano ang meron tayo. So, yung given na magiging first statement natin and reason. So, 1 and 2 are vertical angles. Yun po ay base sa ating given. So, si 1 and 2 ay vertical angles daw. Papatunayan natin na pareho sila ng measure. So, mapapatunayan natin yon if we will have another name of angle here. So, makaka-form naman tayo ng isa pang angle dito na kung saan ay kadikit si 1 at kadikit si 2. So, angle 1 and 3 form a linear pair. 1 and 3. Kaya sila tinawag na linear pair kasi nakabuo sila ng isang line from the word line itself. Pair sila kasi dalawa sila, 1 and 3. So, pag kinombine natin sina 1, this is angle 1, and this is angle 3. When we combine these two, meron tayong isang line, which is this one. Also, with angle 2 and 3. So, ito si angle 2, tapos ito si angle 3. When we combine the two, meron tayong this line. Itong line na to. So, naka-generate tayo ng line. And they are also supplementary. So, definition of linear pair. Yun yung magiging reason natin. Kasi, ni-state natin na sila ay linear pair, ang definition natin doon na ay sila ay linear pair. Now, when we say linear pair, 1 and 3, ang sum ng measures nila ay dapat 180 degrees kasi nakabuo ka ng isang line. Ang isang line measures 180 degrees. So, when we add the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 3, itong dalawa, ang sum ng measures nila ay 180. Same with 2 and 3 kasi linear pair din sila. So, when we add the measures of angles 2 and 3, ang sagot ay 180. Ang reason mo doon ay they are supplementary angles or definition of supplementary angles. So, kailangan mauna mo munang sabihin na linear pair yon. And then, from linear pairs, tsaka mo sasabihin na they are supplementary. Hinihimay-himay naman po natin. So, once na makita nyo naman, this statement is equivalent to 180. This statement is also equivalent to 180. So, para tayo gumamit ng transitive property. You are given three things here. This is the first statement, second statement, and then third statement. So, transitive property ang ginamit. So, paano ginamit si transitive property? Kung si 1 and 3 ay equal kay 180, tapos si 180 equivalent kay 2 and 3, ibig sabihin, yung ito, tsaka ito, equivalent. So, yun yung naging statement natin dito. So, kung meron kayong mapapansin dyan, on the left and on the right, na pareho ng term, which is the measure of angle 3. Pareha silang may measure of angle 3. So, pwede nating i-eliminate yan using using subtraction property of equality. So, we will subtract the same term on both sides, which is the measure of angle 3. So, kung magma-minus ka ng the measure of angle 3 dito, magma-minus ka rin dito on the right side, mawawala sila pareho. Ang matitira na lang sa'yo ay si 1 at si 2. So, having this, ayun na yung statement natin. So, if you are given two equal measures of angles, you can say that these angles are congruent. Ang magiging reason mo na lang dyan ay definition of congruence. Kasi you can only say that things are congruent if their measures are equal. So, before we end, ito yung ating illustration ng axiomatic method. We will start with the undefined terms, followed by defined terms, then axioms and postulates, then theorems. So, ito yung ating lesson for today, mathematical system.